Okay, so a lot of things start from childhood. What do I mean by that? You're a new human being on this earth. You do not have any programming. The people that you live with are the people who are going to be where you start to absorb that information from. They're going to be the people that you start to adopt certain things from, certain ideologies, certain mindsets, certain thinking patterns, certain habits, certain traits, certain reactions. All of that stuff is going to come from the people that you are around. Not only that, but from television too, but that's more so not what this video is about. Okay, that being said, think about how your parents or your parents' parents behave. You know, a lot of times, like if you're a person that's clicked on this video, you already know what I'm talking about. 9 times out of 10, your parents had parents that also didn't really have that strong direction in life, you know, with recognizing patterns, you know. And that's important because if your parents' parents had certain behaviors and traits and characteristics, you know, that are not on the positive side, it's really toxic, and they didn't really, not that they didn't know any better, like they didn't recognize it, but it's like they never adopted a new way of being. So they passed all that down to your parents, right? And if, I guess some people can call that generational trauma or whatever you want to say. It's not just about trauma, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just also, like I said, characteristic traits, all of that stuff. You being new here, you obviously received all of these programs for these people that you are around. Their parents passed it down to them. If they did not make any changes within that, you're going to receive the exact same blueprint. And then it will come down to you. You are the person for your own life, even though I know that it could be a thing of like, well, if my parents brought me here, shouldn't they be the ones to give me, you know, a different blueprint so that I can have a better way of life or a better way of living? And you're not necessarily wrong about that, but what you have to understand is, first of all, 9 times out of 10, that's not gonna happen, and the choice ultimately falls on you. Your life falls on you. It is up to you to change the way that you think. It is up to you to change the way that you react in certain traits that you have. That all comes down to you. And I know that it could be like kind of confusing, like it doesn't make sense. Like, why would somebody bring, you know, children into the world that they're not really ready for? Why would somebody bring children into the world if they were just gonna treat them in this way or treat them in that way? Certain things just happen, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of those things are, a lot of those questions is like kind of irrelevant in the sense of, what do you want to do right now? You want to make a change. You want to have a better quality of life, right? Trying to put the blame on your parents and whoever raised you is not going to do that. I'm just letting you know right now. All that's going to do is lead you in another loop of being a victim. You're gonna literally cause yourself to fall in a victim mindset. And there's people that will spend 10 and 20 years being in a victim mindset, trying to blame their parents for what their parents didn't do, what their parents did do, you know, tools that their parents didn't give them, like whatever, like anything you could think of, right? And this is not to invalidate those feelings, because there's so many human beings, including myself, that have passed those thoughts through my mind, you know. But I made it to a point where I understood the only way for me to experience the type of life that I want, or to become the type of person that I want, is for me to do things to get that way, you know what I'm saying? And this is me giving that information so that when you watch it, you can actually take these things for yourself. So one thing that I did was I decided to write down like different traumas. Now I will say I feel completely different about traumas now, just because I understand like what the purpose of certain things are. But like, if you're in that stage where you're like, okay, there's certain things that happen that I wasn't even sure this happened, but like I'm having these reactions and I'm just now realizing it's because of these certain things that I experienced when I was a child or whatever, right? You can write that stuff down, and you're basically having a conversation with yourself, and you're talking yourself through that to recognize it, to like affirm yourself, to, you know, comfort yourself, different things like that, right? Another thing you can do is literally just accept that it's in the past. Like if you're that type of person, you could, and you don't want to do like the notebook thing, some people call it like shadow work or whatever, you know, you could literally just accept that certain things are in the past and none of that has a hold on you. You don't have to allow it to have a hold on you, you know, in the sense that, okay, this, that, and the third happened, so now I feel like I'm not capable of having a fulfilling life or fulfilling a certain type of way because this, that, and the third happened. Like, for example, I don't hold on to, like, none of that even exists to me in my mind. And obviously there was a process to get to this, right? So like healing and all of that, right? To the point where it's like, I don't identify with any of that. Because if you identify with this stuff, say if you've already even made it past the healing stage and you're still actively choosing to identify with certain traumas and different things like that, that is another thing that's also going to keep you in a loop. Look at your parents and look at your parents' parents. A lot of them feel very entitled. A lot of them are operating in a victim mindset and feel like everybody owes them something because of different things that have occurred, you know what I mean? And they've never taken accountability for anything, like over in accountability for their own life to like make those different types of changes, you know? And that is the perfect example for what you might also end up doing and becoming if you don't decide to actively feel a different way about all this. You know what I'm saying? It's not the end because you've experienced certain types of things, you know? You can choose to move past it. That is not something that's going to happen anymore. Like whether that's like, oh, you grew up in a certain type of neighborhood and used to see certain things or whatever it is. I don't know, whatever type of trauma it is, right? You could choose to be a different person that does not even identify with any of that stuff. That's something that happened in the past. If you actively keep choosing to think about the past, you're going to be living that within your mind. Again, that would be another loop that you're experiencing. And what that would do in the present moment, say you're thinking about the past and it's the present moment, you're not going to be in the present moment. You're living in the past right now and probably not even enjoying your life and thinking your life is miserable. You know, you're miserable, you're probably depressed, you're probably sad, like you probably hate everyone, you know what I'm saying? You probably think human beings are evil, you know, you probably think, what's the point of life? Like there's no, like you're probably thinking all types of stuff, like on the negative side, down that rabbit hole of thinking. And that's actually like absolutely pointless to do. Don't stunt your own growth because you're too ashamed to confront your shadow. Your shadow is not for anybody else, it's literally for you. That's like a thing for you to travel through and to like journey, like explore that, you know what I'm saying, and to experience that journey. You know, some people, you know, try to act like certain things aren't real about themselves, or certain things, you know, about themselves doesn't exist because of whatever shame and guilt that they feel behind it, and also the shame and guilt that they would feel from like other people and like being like ridiculed and judged like extremely, you know, and that can deter people from recognizing whatever they need to recognize about themselves. But the reason you need to do that is because, like, how are you going to experience the integration? You know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about you want a relationship with yourself, or you want to become somebody else. How are you going to become somebody else or become the person that you want when there's still certain parts of yourself that you are still hiding from? You know what I mean? Like, it actually doesn't make any sense. And literally what you're going to find is, as many things as you try to do to change or to become a different person, it's not going to really happen, you know, if you've never explored that side of yourself. And I'm not sure who needs to hear this, but if you click this, obviously it's something that resonates, so I'm glad to be the one to deliver the message. I just felt like it was something that I needed to say. So if you resonate with anything I spoke about in this video, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing so that this video reaches someone who may also need to hear this message. Thank you and bye.